So all right, nobody's aware, but me and Toke, Ginty, Eric went to IMAX, the Dolby Digital, and we actually saw it together as a
Yeah,
little
Josh
friend
wasn't
group. We went out
invited. They don't
Josh
invite
wasn't
me to
invited.
things. They don't want
We
me to
sent him
like
a
be
pizza.
around them in person.
Oh no. Josh was invited, but he did not accept.
He didn't
No,
want to spend
Josh lives
$300.
very far away. For those of
He
you
didn't want
who
to
don't
spend.
know,
No, first off, through plane travel and the miracle of 2023, you're not that far away. It was just a simple $300 flight. It was a 2-hour flight. You could have flown in, came to the movies, then flown. You could have been back before your family even woke up. So I don't want to hear it. You just didn't sacrifice for this podcast, Josh. I don't know.
It was actually
that $300 investment.
No, it was actually a $230 flight.
And I think that was one way. I don't know if you looked at round trip.
It was one way, but still,
You would have been here. You would have been here.
We would have taken care of the beers and the food.
One way. You might have
and
to
the
move
movie.
back to New Hampshire, but it would have been fine.
You could have Ubered back. I'm sure you could Uber back for just a couple $100.
Yeah.
But yes, Mikey and I, we went and saw it in the Dolby Theater.
Yep. And it was funny because we were kind of joking with Josh because he hadn't seen it. He saw it the following afternoon.
Like a peasant.
Like a peasant. And no, so
we messed with him the whole before we even watched the movie. We were sending him random shit like, "Oh my god, I can't believe
I was
this is happening."
DJing too, and I'm looking down at my phone. I'm like, "Leave me alone, leave me alone." Like, I don't want to see any of this shit. But I do want to ask you before you get into the movie, what did you guys think of the Dolby Cinema?
I thought it was so. I liked it. I don't think it was worth the $10 extra for the ticket to see it.
Okay.
I really, so I haven't been to many theaters lately, so I'm not really judging it off many things, but I don't think I would go back unless it's a very big movie that I'm very interested in seeing. I wouldn't see a typical movie there.
Yeah, no, it's not made for that. No. But I don't go see typical movies.
No, I mean it was definitely cool because obviously with the sound and the audio and the bass, great. I mean rumbling everything. I mean we were literally directly in the middle of the theater, and I mean it was like everything was fully around. I mean the audio wise, right? It was amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
It was like hurting my head, like rattling the seat. Like I had my head back and it was like, I'm like, oh my god. At first I was like a little I was like, where the fuck is we were watching the trailers and I'm like, where's the like cool sound? Like where's that all at? I was like, does this maybe the theater's just janky because we're in Methuen that it just like fucking doesn't work? And then it kicked in and I was like, oh shit, cool.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good experience. Like you said, I'd go again if it's a big enough movie. Like Oppenheimer. Oh my god, I want to go see that.
Oh my god,
there.
I might want to sit. I'd rather sit a couple rows further back.
E9. That was my seat in that theater. One row back from where you guys were.
Yeah. I would rather be like maybe 4 rows back. That's me. I want because it's weird to say because I have very good eyesight. I'm like a 2015, 2010 vision. So when I'm close to things, it's hard for me to focus because I can see very well.
Mm-hmm.
So if I sit further back,
Josh with glasses is sitting there like,
can't relate.
Yeah.
If I take these pictures off, I can't see shit.
I actually have prescription glasses for sitting on computers and reading because I actually need something to basically it just relaxes my eye, both my eyes, because it's like I will actually get headaches and my eyes will start watering like crazy. But no, I mean it wasn't like I've been to IMAX and I've been to other movies. My wife bought us IMAX tickets to see Force Awakens, and she bought the tickets and she's like, I got great seats. They're in the back row. I'm like, awesome. We get there. Nope. It was the front row.
That's rough for an
IMAX. So for IMAX, so I'm like,
that's terrible. Yeah. I saw Godzilla in the front row because I had no choice. IMAX, and I was like,
Yeah, it's awful.
It was so yeah. So she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's all right. It was still cool.
You're like watching
but no, but visually, yeah. I would definitely go to that theater again for certain style movies because you know it's going to enhance.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on to the actual movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so we tried not to talk about it, but
which is hard.
You know, a half-hour drive home.
Yeah,
we had a ride home, and we stopped for gas,
So we didn't go all out and talk, but we did dive into it. So I kind of know. I don't know. Now this was obviously over the weekend, so it's been a few days to digest it. So I don't know where he stands completely now, but let's start with your opinion of it, Josh. Where are you if you were to give it a soft score? What would you give it?
Out of 10, I would give it I give it an 8. Man, I thoroughly enjoy. Yeah, I really like this movie. In fact, I think it was great. But you know what I don't think it is? I don't think it's one of the greatest comic book films ever made. I don't think it's as good as The Dark Knight. Whoever the fuck said that was tripping on something. Because this movie's flawed and it's got problems. But I gotta say, man, I had a really good time watching this movie. I mean, we'll get into the cons and you mentioned the CGI. There's some issues, but I mean, all the Batman stuff was great. Whether it was Ben Affleck or Michael Keaton, I think both. I think Andy Muschietti handled Batman perfectly, and that's why, ladies and gentlemen, that is why I'm excited about him directing Batman: Brave and the Bold. Because the way he handled Batman in that movie, both of them, was incredible to me. I mean, he took Michael Keaton, put him to another level. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I gotta say, and I know, this is a tricky thing to say, and people don't want to say it, and people don't want to talk about it. But I gotta say personally, I think Ezra Miller did a very, very good job of this movie. Is he a piece of shit as a person in real life? Sure. Yeah. But I gotta say, the way he was able to play these two different Barrys, and they're vastly different. Yeah. Vastly. Yeah.
Oh my
God.
And
the way he could play off himself, man, that was something I've never seen Ezra Miller do. And I gotta say, it's one of the best performances I've seen him ever do. I've seen him in a few movies, not every movie, but I gotta say, that man impressed me. At first, I was kind of like, "Oh, he's a little annoying," but I was like, "Look, man, I think he killed it. I really do."
Yeah. Outside of James McAvoy, I think that was one of the best dual performances I've seen in a very long time. And now,
this is one of the things that's one of the things we actually touched on.
Yeah, his acting grew on me as the film went in, as the film moved along. So I wasn't crazy about it at first, but I do like the self-aware, I understand why people find me annoying now. He became the older, wiser one immediately, and it was interesting to watch that progression.
Right.
So, all right. So were those the two of the highlights for you? Was the Batman performances?
Also, man, there's a lot of highlights. I feel like there's way more pros than cons for me. There really is. I think the pacing of the movie was very well. It got a little choppy for me towards the third act, but I think the pacing was very well done. I think the story was very well done. I think a lot of the dialogue, the way it was written, was very well done. I think the action set pieces were very well done. I think the characters were great. In fact, maybe this is a pro and a con, but Supergirl was phenomenal. But she didn't have much to do. And she was just thrown in for these pivotal parts, but it was it made me want more. And I really do hope we could get more of that actress, Sasha Calle. she did a great job, man. I really was very impressed with her because that's not easy shoes to fill. I mean, you're coming off anything with super when it comes to DCU. We all got kind of a bad taste in our mouth. We want to see Henry Cavill, but for you to come on and impress me the way you did, I think that takes a lot. So I think she was great. And then again, Michael Keaton. I mean, his Batman was crazy. When he's fighting, what's his face? He's crawling on him, putting bombs on him, jumping. That reminded me of like the Arkham games. Like I remember saying how Ben Affleck's Batman was my favorite like live action Batman because it reminded me of the Arkham games. The shit that Michael Keaton's Batman was doing in this film also reminded me of the Arkham games. And I was like, this is peak Batman. This really is. And then another big pro, I feel like I'm just going on and on. I'm sorry, guys. But another big pro is I love the way they explain the multiverse with spaghetti. I know that sounds silly, but the way, you know, that's not how time works. You know what I mean? It's Michael Keaton. You know what I mean? But when he explains it, I was like, you just explained it better than the MCU ever has. You really did. That was the best explanation because there's so many variables. And when you start changing a bunch of things, plops the spaghetti down. It's like, you got a fucking big mess. You know what I mean? It's like, like things could change very, very small changes, but that's another peak out in the timeline. I think the way they explained it was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
And I like the fact that he always explained the fact that there's always that nexus point. There's one point in time. You can't change it. It always happens. This is final. That's it.
Yeah. So speaking on that, Toke, what's your kind of temperature on the movie?
So I'm right up there with Josh. I mean, I want to put it at about a 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I think I still have the Ezra Miller thing in my head. I didn't even, before the whole psychotic and manic and issue-riddled Ezra Miller came out, I was not a fan of Ezra Miller in Justice League.
Same.
I just didn't like the way he portrayed him. I mean, he's just like we had discussed before. He's very quippy and he's just all over the fucking place. And it's just like, he fucking annoys me. He just annoys me.
It makes me annoyed by the character that he comes across as, of just being this fast, speedy little asshole. Just pisses me off. Like, making the character who I've always liked the Flash, and the Flash has always kind of been a little quippy and a little more on the
and a little bit of a dick,
and a little bit of a dick, because like
always been a little bit of a dick.
Yeah, he's got to be an asshole because he's so he's the fastest person alive. He's all bravado, and it's but I think Ezra always kind of played it too much of a dweeb. Too dweeby for my liking, anyway.
And I was never. It's like the first time I saw him running in Justice League, I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" It's just
the part of the movie where he's doing that around the thing's kind of funny.
And and he's not going anywhere. I thought that was hilarious.
But even as we get to the older into this movie, it hasn't progressed. It's the exact same thing. It's like, dude,
then they double down with like the younger version, or like even the dweebiness. They double down with the younger version, and I was like, "Oh my god, please, for the love of God!"
He was so obnoxious. But here's the thing: I feel like,
but then they play it off well.
Right, and once that Flash is introduced, this younger Flash, it's almost like suddenly the regular Flash, the regular Barry, suddenly matures. He's suddenly a much more mature Barry than we've seen.
He's like, oh
he realized
he's annoyed by himself, and I was like, the way that is played is so brilliant. It's so brilliantly done. The writing, the directing, and the acting of that. It really got me. I was like, this is incredible.
That was definitely a big plus. But like you were saying back with Supergirl, and I really I liked her a lot. She was great. I just feel like there's a lot left out of that, and it was just an underdeveloped character in the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
And we another thing that we had talked. I mean, I thought she was great, but it was like, oh,
how much did you guys fucking talk about? Let's talk about that.
No, and it wasn't like we didn't get into major depth about stuff. It was just like quick little like yeah, and we try and we literally
it's
like,
inevitable.
We can't, we can't talk.
Yeah,
but you think? I mean, she crash landed on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and has been held captive the entire time. The entire time. So God knows how many years she's been in this Russian facility, and just all of a sudden, nope, I'm not gonna help you. And then sees Zod killing people. Okay, I'm on your side. Let's go.
It's a little there's an entire other movie inside this movie
of it that's not left out.
Yeah, there really is.
It's tough because I mean she did a great job, and I thought, I really liked her character. I just wish there was you need more. You need to know what's really going on in her head. Obviously she knows Zod, but she wasn't. I mean, she was like, even from what I understand from the comics and from watching Smallville and everything, she left the same time as Kal.
Yeah.
As Kal-El.
Yeah.
But she was already a teenager. So she knows other things from Krypton, where Superman was an infant.
Yeah. I think so.
It's just
So in your description of it, I think was there anything more that you had to add to your overall? I mean, I don't want to cut you off. That's
no. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I mean,
there's definitely more we can get. We're definitely going to get into more. I feel like for sure, there's definitely more to dissect. But Mike, what is your overall thoughts? Of the movie, pros and cons?
I kind of bounce back between like a 7.2 and a 6.8. I think listening to Josh's very emphatic for this movie, calling it great, kind of makes me remember like some of the stuff I liked about it a lot. And I think that the things that I really like a little bit outweigh the stuff that I really don't, but it's pretty close to being even. So I'd probably lean to just a 7. I think it's the fun stuff for this movie's fun. I think it's a great 2/3 of a movie. I think once they let Supergirl out, it starts to just speed up.
It's a little messy. Yeah, it's the third really act. It starts to.
I know that. So it's tough to say that I wanted more from Supergirl because we did the whole like, I'm not helping you guys. Just kidding. I saw him kill some guys. Now I'm on your team. That's stupid as hell, and it frustrates me. But it's also not a Supergirl movie. So we didn't need this big, huge thing of her, but the way they did it was dumb and wrong. So like you didn't need
they explain
to have...
it pretty like there's an explanation in there that they didn't flesh out. She comes back and asks like, "Why did you help me?" You know, it's there, but they didn't get to flesh it out enough.
Humanity, like all they had to do. This is one thing we did talk about on our way out. I remember walking to the car saying, all they had to do is cut the whole like, I'm not going to help you thing out. And you have such a better movie of it.
You're right.
Like,
exactly.
I think this goes up a whole half a point more by just not putting that part in. Just have her come back, have her be like, I'm going to fight Zod, and then him be like, I can't do this. You know, we have to work together. And then maybe she sees him trying to regain his power. She goes back and helps him, and then they go, all right, let's go fuck up Zod. That's all you had to do, really. You know, don't explain. You try to explain too much, and then the whole you got captured before, and it's just very mucky, and it doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. Also, that getting struck by lightning thing doesn't make sense too. Like, you just didn't. I don't know. It's just weird. Like, oh, just hit him with lightning. Wasn't at this point a normal guy again? They don't really.
Yes. Well, they brought the chemicals back into
the chemicals, and then
so they had the whole same scenarios. So that was the whole part of it.
It was just it felt unnecessary. Like it just felt
taking his powers away was what I had kind of a weird issue with. It wasn't so much like them getting him to get his powers from it. Like, oh, they got the chemicals, they got the lightning. It's kind of the same scenario, sure. But I wanted a little more explanation. Well, why would it take his powers away? Wouldn't it make him more powerful? Like why did it take it back? And that wasn't explained very well. And it was also kind of weird how Michael Keaton's Batman's like, I might kill you. Nah, fuck it.
Okay.
It's like, dude, you know what you're about to do to this poor boy?
So about my original point, the CGI, I didn't hate the Flash's POV CGI, like when he's running in the Flash mode. That's fine. It's more of like, and it's not even because it's supposed to be an artistic choice of them, like making everything kind of look a little fucked up, like he's looking at things moving.
Yeah, when the director, remember I sent you guys, what the director said? I called bullshit so hard, but then when I saw the movie, I was like, no, I can see that. I can see that. Exactly. It seems like you were trying to cover up your bad CGI, but I can see it because the only time I saw horrific CGI was when he was running fast or in the Flash Force, you know what I mean?
Even then, there was a couple scenes. There was a couple scenes like the baby, when the baby goes flying, that's in real time, and it looked terrible. Like when everybody first starts falling out of the window before he starts running up the building.
Yeah,
there's a scene where the everything starts falling and it looks horrible. Like
it wasn't in slow motion
from
in that
2008.
point?
No, it wasn't. It was, but he wasn't.
They had slow-mo and then real-time stuff.
If you're gonna make the weird artistic choice for his vision, like when he's in CGI, like when he's in the Speed Force thingy,
the Speed Force, yeah.
And when he's running up the building and looking at stuff, that's different. But when they first crash out of the building, when it falls and all the babies tumble out, that wasn't in his POV yet. The CGI was fucking atrocious. Like I said, like the dogs from the first Hulk movie, bad. Like just.
Yeah, Scorpion
really
King.
terrible.
I got Scorpion King vibes hard at certain points of the movie, and I was like,
yes.
And I also feel like, if you're gonna be like, okay, it was an artistic choice, I feel like there should be some sort of explanation in the film because we live in a day and age where we're looking at CGI. It's not the '90s where we just buy any CGI you give us. We are looking at that and being like, does that look real? And without any sort of explanation, we're gonna say that CGI looks like fucking garbage.
You can't have a director. You can't have a director describe something to us outside of the movie to make the movie make more sense.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's like when a movie ends and they're like, "Oh no, this happened because this." You shouldn't have to have a third party thing describing to me why this was bad.
Yeah, I should have got that from your film.
Yeah. You could have, and with all the quippiness in this movie, you could have the very first time the new Barry goes into the fucking speed thing, he could have been like, how come everything looks so weird? And be like,
why does this look like PlayStation 3? Like it could have been a quick one-off.
Very quick. There's so many
super quick.
There's so many
and
it would have been funny as fuck too if you did that.
It would have again, you would have just added, if you take out the whole Kara fucking Jor-El, whatever her name is, Supergirl, if you take away the whole quick 6-second arc of I'm not going to help you. Okay, I'm going to help you. And then you add in a little quip describing and making joke of the bad CGI. You raise this whole fucking movie like a half point.
Whole bar,
whole bar.
If you hadn't even if you had never sent that article to me, it wouldn't have made a difference because I actually, when I went into that and just not even thinking about it, I was like, no, like they actually in this whole aspect of when you're looking in Barry's POV, it's like, no, this is exactly how I would envision it to look. I mean, this seems about right. Because not only that, but they do it with that whole orange tint because he's got the orange lenses on his mask.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is. I think that was by far like the best CGI out of the entire movie.
And something very pivotal to pay attention to is that Barry doesn't look like shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Barry looks great, it's not a CGI budget problem because he looks fine. It's everything around him.
I mean,
I mean the really bad CGI, as much as I loved seeing it and thought it was pretty cool and fun to see, was CGI Nick Cage. Looked horrible.
So he was actually in the suit too. That's the weird thing. He was in the suit. So, but again, it's supposed to be through the lens of like a different universe type thing.
Portal.
Yeah, it was very strange.
But you're still looking at it at the person, and you see the universe, the different universes kind of merging together,
and they all look terrible. All the characters they gave us, all those little Easter eggs were fucking horrible CGI. I think every single one of them.
Well, some were way worse than others, but some of them actually weren't that bad. I was very impressed with their Jay Garrick one that they had, because there was a Jay Garrick CGI character in there as well.
Yeah.
Which was
it's probably because they lingered on Nick Cage. He turns around but that scene was so genius. Because did you guys understand the spider? Did you understand the giant spider that he's fighting? You've never seen that Kevin Smith video?
No,
I gotta send you this video. So Kevin Smith was originally writing a script for the Superman Lives movie. He has this like 10-minute video of he's explaining the whole story. So, if you guys haven't seen it, highly recommend it, because Kevin Smith is one of the greatest storytellers. I don't mean with film. I mean this man sitting down with a microphone telling you a story. Amazing. And he this producer's like, okay, so he's like, yeah, I like your script, but like the suit, the cape, yeah, we're not going to do that. And he's like, okay. And he's like, him flying, like Superman flying? No, we're not going to do that. Kevin Smith's like, okay. And he's like, and at the end, I want him to fight a giant spider. And that's why they added it. And it's funny because that same producer, and at the end of the story, he's like, yeah, this man went on to produce this big film called Wild Wild West. And he's like, I went to the movies and watched it. And at the end, there's this giant fucking spider. But I will send you guys the link. I really think you'll enjoy the video. But I was cracking up in the movie theater. I was like, they gave us the fucking spider. But
that's funny. So that was to one of my points. The stuff that I loved about this movie is the fun things, the non-super story related things, but like the whole scene in the apartment where he's talking to other Barry's friends about Back to the Future and how it's
God. And it was the original actor who played Marty McFly.
What's his name?
Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz.
And he's like, no, what are you talking about? It's Michael J. Fox. And he goes, wait, from Footloose? And he goes, no, that's Kevin Bacon. And he goes, from Top Gun? You know, the one with the beach. And he's like, I broke the universe. That I love. Like,
it was so good.
That stuff makes you like want to go back and rewatch it because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, you mean Maverick? You know, with the gay volleyball thing going on?
The gay volleyball jet fighter pilots.
The humor really worked for me in this movie. It wasn't it wasn't that Joss Whedon humor that's just fucking awkward, or the Michael Bay humor that's just not funny, period. It was like the humor really worked for me in this movie. But also another big pro that I forgot to bring up was the emotional parts of this movie. There's two scenes that really hit me hard, and one of them's kind of small, and I feel like it might not have hit a lot of people. There's a scene with him and Ben Affleck's Batman, and he's like basically inviting him to hang out, and Ben Affleck's like, you know, maybe next time. And the way he delivered that line and his facial expressions said like a million words. You know, that he's still, even though he's in a better place, he will never truly be happy. Like he is still a very depressed person. I also the way that went was.
I also thought that was a play on the fact that he's not going to be Batman again. Like a little wink nod to the camera. Like
I didn't even think of it like that. Yeah.
Like, that's how I received it, because all of this, and this will go to my last point about the movie, but for now, like I'm saying, like they all kind of gave a little wink, wink, nod to not coming back. Like Gal Gadot goes, okay, guys, I'll see you later, and she kind of, because her Wonder Woman is in question, so she goes, all right, she goes, thank you, guys, or I forget what her line was, but it was basically like, thanks, guys, good to see you, and she leaves. And then he goes, you know, do you want to hang out some more? And he goes, maybe next time, and kind of gives this emotional like goodbye. And then even at the post credit scene is Aquaman passed out drunk in the water, which was hilarious. So he's kind of like leaving him, and he even walks away and he goes, yeah, he'll be okay. And like there's these subtle nods to like all of the universe and like what kind of state that it's leaving in that I kind of respected and liked. I didn't like the Gal Gadot one at first. But then when they kind of kept doing it, I was like, oh, okay. And then after he goes, where's shit, what's his name? Cyborg. He goes, "Where the hell's Cyborg?" or something like that. He said some line about him in the movie. I hate not writing stuff down when I review it because I
right, yeah.
it.
The problem with seeing a movie once.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of makes a nod. He goes, "Where the hell's Cyborg?" or something, or "This would be great if we had Cyborg," or something like that.
Yeah,
and it was a line. I was like, "Oh yeah, there it is."
Yeah,
but I will say, sorry, keep going.
But the other emotional moment, and I think was my personal opinion, was the greatest emotional moment of this movie and of many movies that I've seen. I mean, was at the end, that scene with his mother, when he goes back and he has to undo what he did. And I won't lie to you, I'm a bitch. I teared up. My eyes watered, and I was like, why the fuck is this movie doing this to me right now? I just think there's so much going on. Like, he's looking at his mom. Like, he is almost killing his mom in that scene.
Yeah.
Like, he is making sure that she dies. Exactly. And the way it plays out and the little dialogue they have, and she puts her hand on his face. I'm sitting in the theater, and I'm like, oh fuck! Like, this is rough. Yeah.
Who cut onions in here?
Yeah, who's cut? I just bawl out. Who the fuck is cutting? I get pissed. But I think
that's fine because no one in the theater would have heard you because there was no one in there. So
I'll have you know there were people in this fucking screening this time. All right.
Yeah, same for us, but everyone was in our row.
Yeah, everybody was in our row.
Really, that's super weird. Yeah, I saw it in a packed theater. Like almost every seat was sold out. It's a really, really good experience. But
I mean, we did have the 10:30 viewing, and the movie didn't start till 11.
Yeah, because you got to go through the previews. Yeah,
which is crazy. I said something to Eric. I was like, dude, why are we showing previews? Everyone watches these on YouTube now. Like,
yeah,
it used to be you went to the movies like, I gotta see. I'm gonna start showing up 15 minutes after the movie starts. Like, I don't need to see trailers anymore.
I show up when the movie starts. Then I go, I get my popcorn, my soda, and then I get in there halfway through the trailers. But it's like perfect timing. Because I do like seeing the trailers in a theater because I'm just corny like that. No, there's certain trailers I like to see.
I do too. But when they say the movie starts at 10:30, the movie should start at 10:30, not the previews start at 10:30. These previews should have started at 10 o'clock because there was literally 30 minutes of previews.
Every time,
previews and fucking like, thanks for showing up to AMC.
Oh my God.
The best
Heartbreak feels
ever.
Good in a place like this. Did they show that fucking? Did they still show that at AMC?
Hi, I'm Maria Menounos.
I'm Maria Menounos. But that fucking Nicole, I think it's Nicole Kidman, when she's like, she's sitting there alone in the theater like Josh Meany is all the time, and she's just eating her butt, and she's like, heartbreak feels good. They're this is the thing that gets, sorry, I just want to go on this tangent real quick. They're advertising to you the movie theater that you're fucking sitting in. You think I'm going to be like, oh, maybe I should go to AMC? I'm already fucking here. Why are you advertising AMC to me? Anyway, back to the Flash.
Agreed.
God, that gets to me.
I mean, but overall, I mean, I liked it.
So, all right. So my biggest problem, and I'll say that my biggest gripe with this movie is it was supposed to be a hard reset for this old iteration of the DCU, the DCEU. It's supposed to be like a capstone on it to finish it off, and I don't think it did that. I don't think it did a good enough job of putting any puzzle pieces to bed. I thought that they were going to do some more drastic shit. They basically just killed Michael Keaton's character, and then they killed off Kara Kent. Or Kara fucking whatever her name, Supergirl. They just killed her a bunch of times, and then they never show her again.
I disagree with that. I actually really disagree with that. I think that, and I guess we can talk about this now, George Clooney. I think him going back to his universe and George Clooney coming out, Mr. Bat Nipples himself, I think that was the cap. That was like, we're done, because this isn't your Batman. This isn't going to be Batman and Batman Brave and the Bold. Like, and that Barry's not leaving this fucking universe. He gave up having a life with his mother, but he's not going to give up having his father's innocence and finally getting that second chance with his father at the end. And I do think that was the cap on the universe, and that is what I think was one of the reshoots. I don't think this was in the original film. I really don't. The George Clooney thing. I think him going back and it being a different Batman, I think that was a reshoot to end it. Like, this is the universe that Barry will stay in and that we will not revisit.
There's four endings to this movie. There are 4.
Mm-hmm.
I've already read it. So in this universe that Barry comes back to with fat nipples, that's one of them. There was another one where they shot, and it was Ben Affleck. He was still Bruce Wayne in this at the end. And another version, there was also Kara was still involved in this. Is now in this universe.
Yeah,
and
with Michael
Clark,
Keaton, I saw.
And Henry Cavill.
That makes sense.
Was also in this ending. So when he comes back, both of them were supposed to come down at the end. But if you go back and watch some of these things where it's at the end at the courthouse where he's talking to certain people, there's actually other photos and clips of Barry talking to people outside the courthouse.
Yeah, I remember that from like one of the trailer spots.
Yeah. So, and that was with Kara.
Yeah.
So, but Kara and Kal-El both have known each other the entire time in this universe. So they're actually working together. So we have 2 super people.
Yeah. No, I do like your that explanation does work for me. Kind of like how putting the cap on all of their performances by like having them all give like the wink nod send off to the camera.
Yeah,
I never even thought of it that way.
I like that a lot.
And I didn't think of it. I didn't think of the having George Clooney as Batman does kind of seal off this whole like, nope, this is just fucking DC Earth version blank 1-05, and now we're moving on to a different universe. So I do. If you think about it, again, it's hard to wrap your brain around it. It's a little, it's not. I don't know. It's hidden in the message there, but it's not spelled out like, oh no, we're not going back to this. It's like, if you think about it, that's like the thing sending them off, but it's not very like. It just didn't feel like, oh, okay, that's an ending to that. It's like wink, tongue in cheek. We're not coming back here, although nothing's happened that we absolutely couldn't come back here. But I kind of wanted that. I wanted no, we're done. Since it is such a hard reset.
And I think a lot of the audience, like, because not everyone's like us, who are get into it like that. The casual movie-going audience, the majority of the box office, the small box office apparently, they don't think of these movies like that. So sometimes you do need to spell things out, and I almost feel like you're right. They probably should have spelled it out a little more. But for someone like me, or even us, I feel like once you leave and you think about it, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's it. That's a wrap. But like, I feel like the casual movie audience is like, so George Clooney's back as Batman? They're like, what the fuck is happening?
Oh, I didn't know. The other ending was one of the other endings was Michael Keaton was Bruce Wayne in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
He was there at the courthouse at the end. He's the one that shows up in the car and picks him up.
Who? Sorry, I missed that.
Michael Keaton.
Oh yeah.
I don't like that either. I'm happy they didn't go with that. I feel like the way his story ended, I think it was beautiful. I think it was really well done. And you would think that I'd be mad because I remember like in No Way Home when Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man gets stabbed in the back, and I was fucking pissed for like 3 seconds. I was like, you did not just do that. But when they did
fucking kill Peter
Parker, like, are you kidding me? That's how you're going to end his story. But there was something beautiful about the way they handled Michael Keaton. It was like, no matter what, he was going to die. That was the Nexus event. And he's just like, no, kid, like, I did it. Like, this is it for me. And I was like, yeah, it is. Like, yeah, it is, dude. You're fucking 70. Like, there was something beautiful about it. So if they would have brought him in, that would have took away from so much of the story, not only with him, but also with Supergirl. because that was a powerful moment. No matter what they did, Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman were supposed to die. So if you have them come back, you take such a pivotal part of the story out. Like, it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Somehow Palpatine's returned.
But again, that's only
the ultimate fuck you.
But that's only in that timeline. So he went further back again to the time of his mother's death, and instead let her die, but then put the tomato cans on top shelf, so his father had to look up. Yeah. And you get to see it on the security camera.
And that's the problem with multiverse and everything, and that's where I feel like you need to follow that line very carefully. Even with, like, if the MCU brings Tony Stark back, terrible idea in my opinion. Don't fucking do it. You took away everything that you did. Even though I don't think a whole different conversation, I don't think Tony Stark should have died, blah, 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 blah. But you take away that powerful moment. So, like, in a multiverse, anyone can come back. So then it feels like, what am I watching this fucking movie for? Because no matter how it ends,
Emperor Palpatine returns.
Somehow, Emperor Palpatine returns. Somehow, in a different universe, fucking Anakin Skywalker is still alive. And, like, you need to teeter that line very carefully, handling the multiverse. And I like the way they did it in this film. I think they handled it perfect.
If I see Tony Stark. If I see Robert Downey Jr. come back in any facet, I would love it to be more like a Hugh Jackman in what's the one where they're recruiting the X-Men and they go try to ask him and he goes fuck off. Yeah,
is it Days of Future Past? No, it's
no, that was First Class.
First Class.
I would love
real quick
if you just got like they go and try to get Tony Stark and he in a different universe and he's not Iron Man, he's just a rich playboy and he's like, what the hell are you doing? Like something crazy like that. Like I would love that. That would be perfect. Yeah. But to get into this other point real quick before we kind of end it off, because we're at 42 minutes on this. I didn't realize it only made $141 million. That's a disaster. That's terrible.
It's losing money. And I don't think it should.
No, it doesn't deserve to be that.
It doesn't fucking deserve it.
This is almost like one of the best
DCU movies. In my opinion, it is my second favorite DCU movie that they have done. Second. I think it's Man of Steel, The Flash, and then Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Batman versus Superman. But it's my second favorite.
In there somewhere.
I think I think that really correlates to the way the public feels about Ezra Miller, and I think this is how they're showing it.
It's a combination of things, and I think it's more so how the public feels about DC Universe, because Shazam should have made, even though Shazam 2 sucks, in my opinion, it should have made more fucking money than it did because the first one was so successful. But the audience doesn't trust DC, and that is the biggest obstacle James Gunn has to do.
Shazam 2 only made $130 million.
It fucking flopped. It belly flopped off the cement. It didn't even jump in a pool. Like that movie. And Flash doesn't deserve that, because Flash has its issues, but I do think it is a great superhero film and a very enjoyable one at that. And I don't think it deserves the box office.
Yeah, I would agree. Thinking about it more and more, I think it is more close to like a 7.5. It's a decent movie. It's a decent movie that suffers from a couple bad. It suffers from what every other DCU movie suffers from. It just has. It's more fun. It's more an enjoyment of a movie. Yeah, it's definitely a step above some of the crap. It's better than fucking Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. It's better than a lot of the crap that they put out mid, the Snyderverse crap.
Now, Mike, I have an interesting question to ask you. Do you think that had anything to do with the hype before the movie? Let's say you went into this movie and there was no hype. You were just like, yeah, this Flash movie is probably going to be shit, like whatever. And you just went into it pretty clean. No one told you it was the next Dark Knight. No one told you it was the great. Do you think your rating would have been a little bit higher and you would have watched it through a different lens?
No, because I didn't. Me personally, no, because I didn't buy into the hype. I just didn't. I was like, there's no way that this movie's going to be this good. I think that if they hadn't tried to hype it up, I think this movie probably makes a little bit. I think there's still a chance that this movie rebounds a little bit and makes some money on the back half of its
going to be hard. The second and third weeks are always the big drop offs.
Because I've watched, I think that because it didn't start from a very good point, because also not much else came out this weekend, so it's not like it was up against. No. I think that there's a chance that because. I don't know, because there's a chance that there's moviegoers that watch the bad reviews, but one of the reviewers that I trust and listen to a lot. I just watched his review and he gave it a 7, which is like he's very harsh on movies, like very very harsh. He'll give out like 4s and shit easily. So I don't know. It's sitting at a 6 out of 10, and I don't think it does. No, that's Shazam. What the hell am I looking at? It's at a 7.3, and I think that that's decent enough of a score for some people to check it out, and there could be a little bit of word of mouth that gets this movie at least over 250 million.
Has a really high audience score too. Last time I checked, it was in 90s for an audience score.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only problem I would say nowadays is, and you know what the thing is, I think that all movies are down now because of the streaming thing, because everyone knows this movie's going to be streaming in a month, and it's why spend the money when you already pay for a subscription that the movie's coming to. And I think that the days of movies making $1 billion is kind of past us. I don't think it's going to happen anymore. It's just.
I wouldn't say that, but it won't. There's definitely going to be movies that are going to make $1 billion.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like multiple movies. Like there was a time right before COVID where you had 5 or 6 movies in a year making $1 billion. Where I don't think that there's enough hype around enough movies anymore for that to happen. I don't. I think you're already seeing it. You're already looking at movies and going, well, these movies aren't making what they were 4 years ago. Which you would think that they would, because people want to be back in the movie theaters, but I don't think that that's the case. There's too much media available. It's really the
excitement. You got to build that excitement because, No Way Home came out right when people were actually going back to the movie theaters, made $1 billion. And, Avatar came out, too, made $1 billion. It's that you got to build that excitement, and DCU having that stale taste in everyone's mouth really worked against it, because I think this movie should be $1 billion movie. I really do. It has its problems, but there's so much fun and enjoyment, and Michael Keaton's Batman. I think it would have made $1 billion.
I would say 800. I would say probably 800. I don't think it's quite $1 billion movie because the DCU has never done that. It doesn't do that. So why would there be
Aquaman made $1 billion.
No, did it? Yeah, that was like the hype, and like everybody loves Jason Momoa, so it's kind of that. Yeah, I don't know.
But again, I think because this movie is eons better than Aquaman, in my opinion. I don't even like Aquaman.
Oh God, yeah.
So it's like I stand by it. I think this movie should have made $1 billion. I really do. There's so much working towards it, but it 100%
shouldn't be at 141 million. It shouldn't be at 140.
Absolutely not.
This should be at least at 400, even on a bad. Like, it's really weird because, again, there's a lot of people like it. There's a lot of people dousing it, saying it's really bad, but I think it's just because of the numbers, the $140 million that it's made.
Yeah, and it's a shame that I almost feel like DCU finally found its footing. Like I love what they did with the Flash character. I think the Ben Affleck's Batman was like a peak. What he could do. It's like they found their footing, but it was too fucking late. It was too late. It was already the
crumbling,
end.
And they were like, "Oh, we're good." No.
Yeah, and James Gunn's gonna have that struggle. He's gonna come out the gate with the first DCU movie in his regime, which will be that Superman movie, and it's not gonna do what it should. But I think word of mouth, and after that, I think that'll be the palate cleanser. And I think DCU can rebuild from there. But I would not have high expectations for the box office of that first Superman movie, just because of the taste in everyone's mouth. No matter how good it is, I don't know, man. I don't know how well that movie.
If you attach James Gunn on it, like on the fucking poster, so everybody knows that it's James Gunn doing it, like the creator of Guardians of the Galaxy, fucking this and this and this,
writing, directing.
Yeah, I think that's gonna. And
Suicide
it's
Squad flopped.
At the end of the day, it's Superman. So it's
that
like
is true.
One of those
Suicide Squad flopped. James Gunn's name was all over that. The writer and director of Guardians of the Galaxy was all over the trailers. That movie belly flopped, and that movie was incredible.
I like that one. Yeah,
I love that movie.
The newer one.
And it was critically well received. It has great reviews, but it's that taste in people's mouth for DC movies that works against it so strongly.
So goddamn bad.
And that also was a big factor too. I think the movie will be successful, but it's not going to be it's not going to make the box office that a Superman movie should. I really don't think. I'm calling it right now. I don't think it will. Yeah. But the second one, once they figure out that shit, we're doing something here.
I think there's a 25% reasoning behind the streaming thing. The streaming thing forever has changed the way people.
I agree.
Because the reason why like Avatar did well is because there's an experience in there that you can't get from at home. Like I watched it at home and I knew I was like, there were scenes I'm like, yeah, this would look fucking incredible in IMAX.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like one of the scenes when they're flying by the ocean, I'm like, this must have looked absolutely bonkers in IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so that should be maybe a movie of the week in a couple weeks coming up. Avatar
we're what?
Yeah.
How many? We got like 27. How many episodes we got into this thing right now? What have I been saying since the beginning? Oh, every time you ask me, are you going to see this weekend? What do I usually say?
Wait for it streaming. Yep. I'm the same way. I just can't justify seeing a movie that if my plans hadn't changed and you hadn't been available to go see it, I would have not seen this movie in theaters. Yep. And if I wasn't going to Italy where we needed another topic to spoiler alert, this is why we're doing a double episode tonight recording. It's because we needed 3 to fill. Yeah. I wouldn't have watched this. I just wouldn't pay to go watch a movie. Yeah. It's tough. And I know, Josh, you feel the exact opposite about it because you love the movie theater going experience, but
it depends on what movie. Because again, Across the Spider-Verse is doing great. You know,
this specific
there's movies out there that did great. Elvis did fucking great. Top Gun made $1 billion.
Top Gun did
it depends on the movie, but it's not as easy. I do think you have a point with the streaming. It's not as easy as it was before. You actually got to give us a good fucking movie.
No. Yep. Yeah, there has to be like a hype for like the right age demographic that it's targeting, plus like some sort of spectacle that you have to talk about that like you need to see outside of streaming. Like you want to get out and do it. It's got to be on a good weekend where there's not a lot of other things going on around that have people at home or going and doing something else. Like going to the movies isn't a pillar of existence like it used to be, like a pillar of entertainment like it was 10 years ago, where it's like going to the movies is a whole fucking like, again, it's $1 billion, it's $1 trillion industry almost. And now it's like it's just another type of entertainment you can do now. It's not one of the like 4 things that people do in life. What you do? Go to the movies and go out to eat.
Expensive.
I hate the holiday. I hate holiday release movies. Like, I want to be doing other things on the holiday. I want to see the movie, but guess what? I'm not going opening night because you put it on.
Those are usually shitty movies anyway. When those holiday dump movies, it's like kids are on school vacation, so they're trying to like own it.
They also do they also do Star Wars movies, but those are always going to be fucking.
It doesn't fucking matter when you drop them.
Oh my god, yeah.
You drop them right now with no trailer. Those fucking things are gonna make mad money.
Those are the ones if I know they drop right around. Like, all right. Well, I'm stuck in Star Wars. I'm going.
That's a new thing too. That isn't how it used to be. It used to be May. Those movies used to drop in May all the time, but
May 4th is Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
It's actually May 16th, I think, is the day that like 3 of the movies dropped, but I don't know. Regardless.
Well, it's May the 4th be with you.
Yeah. Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge of the 5th. But yeah, I think that's our cap.
That is the cap on it.
Unlike an hour.
unlike the ending to the DCEU, we can actually know how to end a show.
Yeah, we know how to end it, and we don't need George Clooney to do it. We just got Josh Meany, Mike Daggs, and Eric Tocanel. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's our thoughts on The Flash. Drop down in the comment section if you guys have seen it. Let us know what you guys thought. If you don't want to go see it, let us know why.
Let us know.
All that good stuff. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. And until next time, everybody.
And if you do want to watch it, I suggest you go see it.
It's a good time.
Yeah. I recommend seeing it. See it. Maybe not go buy a ticket, but definitely watch it when you get a chance. If you want to watch it in theaters, go ahead. I don't know. I'm just
but definitely watch it.
I'm tired.
Peace out, everybody.
Oh. Well, hello there. It looks like you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. We really do appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button if you liked what we saw. Leave some comments for any topics that you'd like us to discuss. We're always looking for feedback, and we'd like to hear what you think. If you want to check out some more clips of ours, here's a couple right here. Enjoy, and again, thanks for watching.